Good morning, YouTube. We are back at it again with another video. If you are here for the first time, my name is Kel with Collection Closet, and I am a full-time reseller on platforms like Whatnot and eBay. And today, we're going over the million-dollar question: which is better, Whatnot or eBay for resellers? We've sold over 75,000 items within a 2-year period on Whatnot and have sold well over 6 figures on the eBay platform. So we want to figure out which is better, Whatnot or eBay. Today we are finally going to go through the pros and cons of both and figure out which is better, but we also have a lot of packing to do, a lot of shipping to do. So let's get the shipping done as we go over these pros and cons. Let's go. All right, so the first thing we got to pack today is this simple plain Polo Ralph Lauren t-shirt. Ski was OY124. Let's go find it. So let's start with Whatnot. Now the first pro we ended up coming for Whatnot is that it is insane for cash flow. Now cash flow is super important in any business because you need that money coming back in. You need that money to turn around as quickly as possible, and there is no platform like Whatnot when it comes to that. Literally get an item today, schedule a show for tonight, sell that item, and have that money deposited in your account the very next day. There's none of those platforms. No reselling platform can beat a live selling platform like Whatnot in regards to cash flow, because you could almost essentially get your money back within 24 hours, opposed to a regular reselling website like eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, Whatnot. You gotta list the item. Who knows when that item's gonna sell? It could be a day, it could be a week, it could be a month, it could be a year. So Whatnot is definitely number one when it comes to cash flow. So we're here at the orange rack. Orange yellow 124. We got our item. Let's go pack it. All right, so pro number 2 for Whatnot is you could sell an infinite amount of items technically. So the great thing about Whatnot is in your shows, you're the boss, right? You could set however many items you want to sell in every single show, right? Whether you want to sell 20 items, 50 items, 100 items, 400 items. At the peak of our Whatnot career, we were selling anywhere between 200 to 400 items every single day. I think the most I've ever sold personally in a single stream, doing an individual item at a time. Back in the day, Whatnot, I believe the smallest time, now you have like a 5-second, 3-second timer. The smallest time back in the day, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, was 20 seconds. Was the shortest time allotted per auction. Now they have a lot smaller time frames now that you can use. But I think our highest item sold in one stream was 672 items. So yes, in terms of the amount of items that you can physically sell in a single day, I believe Whatnot out-trumps any platform, or I should say live selling in general, just because of there is no limit. Sky is the limit when it comes to selling on live selling platforms, just because, I mean, you could literally go as long as you possibly want. So that is definitely a great pro that Whatnot offers. All right, next item we got to get that sold are these little FootJoy sandals. This is kind of cool. I didn't know, I mean, it wasn't really familiar that there's literally golf shoes that are sandals. It's kind of weird, but kind of cool at the same time. All right, as we go to try to find them, I'm sorry if it's kind of loud. I got fans all over the warehouse, but as we go and try to find these sandals off of our little shoe racks, the third pro of Whatnot, I would say, is the fact that the shipping is billed directly to the buyer, and the sellers don't have to worry about anything when it comes to shipping in terms of charging and costs, which is a big help. So essentially on Whatnot, all the shipping is billed directly to the buyer. On the seller side, all you have to do is when you create your listings, you just have to put the weight range that the item weighs, and that is it. The billing, depending on where the person's located in the United States or even abroad, is all billed directly through Whatnot. So the seller doesn't have to worry about, pricing, shipping at the correct prices, or anything along those lines. Whatnot handles all that billing directly, which is absolutely amazing. Because as you know, on other platforms, especially with eBay, you get a lot of the rate changes with shipping. Post office changes their shipping, so rates go up. So then you have to adjust all of your current listings, to fix that. That way you're not undercharging for shipping and things along that nature. Whatnot takes care of all that, which is a great pro for that platform. All right, so the third great pro for Whatnot is that it is unmatchable when it comes to being able to build your customer base. Whatnot following is highly, in my opinion, highly underrated, because on Whatnot, you know, you could get, I mean, as far as another platforms, resale platforms, you know, you could get repeat customers. You know, you could have customers that buy from you once, you know, a couple times a year, a couple times a month, even maybe even once a week. However, on Whatnot, you get almost essentially a religious following in a lot of cases, which means that you get so many people who come to your shows on a literal, almost daily basis. Obviously, if you have shows on a daily basis, I can only speak for ourselves. We had customers who literally would show up every single live pretty much that we would do, and would buy almost on every single show. So in terms of acquiring customers, acquiring repeat customers, having that set customer base every single show that you do, Whatnot definitely takes the cake. All right, so pro number 4, and we gotta go to rack number BO53. Perk number 4, or pro of 4 of Whatnot, is the scalability of the business. Now, Whatnot is great, of course, because of the cash flow that Whatnot can provide. You could scale the business fairly quickly and to pretty much to new heights. So obviously with the scalability, with the cash flow, you could reinvest your money to buy more product, to do more shows, or you could scale it in the ways of, if you're getting, you know, an excess amount of cash flow and you're able to hire help, you could end up hiring help. Doing more lives, more streams means more items you could run, which means more money in your pocket. So scalability is definitely a perk of Whatnot. So let's see, BO53. Here we go, got the jersey. Now, another great pro of Whatnot, as a seller, you don't have to deal with returns. Now, that is absolutely amazing as a seller. You don't have to worry about processing returns, sending refunds, things of that nature. However, you still want to provide a great buyer experience. You know, if a seller messages you with an issue they have with the order, you know, you always want to do your best to try to do right by the customer. Whether it is, you know, trying to give them a coupon code for their next live where they get a discount, or setting them a replacement item, you know, whatever it may be, that'll make that shopping experience for that buyer a pleasurable one. However, just on the selling aspect alone, it is very nice to not have to deal with returns and refunds as well. And as well as on Whatnot, you can choose to decline cancellations on items for any reason, which is another big thing. As far as on a seller side, it might not be as buyer friendly, but as a seller friendly, that is definitely a great plus, being a seller, not having to deal with this cancellations and returns. Now, should you accept no cancellations? That's on a person by person basis. That is completely up to you. However, just on the fact that as far as a seller operating the business, not having to deal with returns is definitely a bonus. Oh my gosh, this is gonna take us forever to pack, because trying to pause and do the camera and all that is gonna take us forever to do this packing. But hey, we do it for you guys. On to the next pro and con. All right, so we did the pros of Whatnot. Now we gotta look at the cons. So first con I could come up with as far as for Whatnot is you are very limited. What I mean by that is you could only sell when you're live. Now, I know Whatnot has incorporated the marketplace section where you can buy and offer on items outside of a live. However, I would just safe to say that 99.9% of Whatnot sales come from the actual live sales. So in terms of that, like I was saying, you can't sell unless you're live, which means as soon as that camera turns off, as soon as your live ends, you can't sell anymore. It means you can't make any more money. So in terms of Whatnot, you are limited in terms of when you can sell. Being on Whatnot, you know, you can only sell when that camera is rolling. All right, so next item we got here that we got to pack is this Charles Tarwit button up. We're OY152. Let's go find it. All right, so con number 2 for Whatnot is you don't get the full value. So what I mean by that, not getting the full value, is you can't, I mean, not that you can't, but most times, odds are, you're not gonna get the full value of the item as if you were to sell it on a full price marketplace like eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, whatever the case may be. Especially if you start items up at just $1. If it sells for on eBay or wherever for $100, you know, you might get 20 bucks for it, 30 bucks for it, 50 bucks for it, 60 bucks for it. You know, you're most likely not gonna get the full value of that item if you're starting at the dollar starts. And we found our item, OY152, Charles Tyrwhitt button up. All right. Now, like I said, it doesn't mean you can't get the full value for this stuff, but majority of sellers are not getting full value for their items when starting off at $1. It's just facts. Now, another con with Whatnot is that it takes time to build your following, your customer base. Now, it's honestly a person by person basis on how quickly you can build that customer base, that repeat customer, or that steady kind of income where you know your items are going to sell about this ballpark range every single show, or you're going to sell this amount of items in every single show. It takes some time to build that following. Again, it's a case by case basis for everyone on how quickly that you can build that following, but you know, it definitely does take time. You know, some people might not even sell anything on their first live. Some people might only sell a couple items or sell things if they're starting at $1. They could possibly sell everything at possibly just $1. So it does take time to build that following on Whatnot. So you got to be careful when starting out and know that, you know, it's a marathon, not a sprint. All right, next item we got to pack is this simple, nice little Nike Golf Polo. We got RK77, let's go find it. Now, another thing you have to be careful for when you're selling on Whatnot as far as a con is the oversaturation of wholesale brands. So many times, especially, oh my God, there was a time back in the day when everybody and their mother had good American shoes. Everybody and their mother had good American shoes and everyone was trying to sell it all at the same time, which oversaturated that brand tremendously. I know if you weren't the first one in, first one out with those, people who started getting those later on or doing those shows later on significantly got less for their shoes. So that's something you have to very much be careful for when you're doing those wholesale pallets on Whatnot, because people get it pretty much the things all from the same places, or their wholesaler gets it from another wholesaler where they all get the same places. So when it comes to getting a wholesale, you got to be very careful about where you're getting your items from and how much access people have to those specific brands and such, because, you know, if one Whatnotter is going to have it, a lot of them are going to have it most likely. So you got to be very careful when it comes to that. That way you don't get oversaturated, and by the time you get your pallet in, you know, everybody's already got their item and you're left getting minimum value for your items. You got to be careful. When it comes to getting those bulk, you know, shipments, wholesale from these different brands, just do your research, try to see, you know, what the market's looking like. If the other streamers that are selling those brands on your platform, maybe what time you want to do your stream at, you know, you kind of have to be strategic with it. But, you know, there are plenty of brands out there that are kind of harder to get or people don't know how to get, you know, that you can capitalize on. So I'm not saying that wholesale is a bad thing on Whatnot, doing those wholesale pallets. You just got to make sure that the brands you're getting just have an abundant supply of demand, or there's not many streamers on there doing those same brands. All right, so the next con we're going to look at is seller fees. Now, this is pretty common across every platform. Pretty much every platform has seller fees. So, I mean, it's not anything that's, you know, unwarranted or any different really than anywhere else. You know, you're going to have seller fees. So of course that's going to be a negative across all boards on any platform, is, you know, less money in your pocket. But hey, you know, you're utilizing that platform, you know, for their reach, for their audience, for your ability to sell on their platform. So, I mean, even though some people, you know, have whatever they need to say about seller fees, I mean, and if you look at it in hindsight, it's a small fee, very, very, very small fee to pay to have as big of a reach as you could have, you know, selling on their platform, and the amount of customers that you can acquire, because, you know, those platforms spend money on advertising and promoting your shows and so on and so forth. So, you know, say what you want about seller fees. Yes, it is a con, but, you know, it's the nature of the beast. All right, so as I'm finishing packing up this order, let's move to the pros of eBay. Now, pros of eBay. Pro number one, in my personal opinion, is you can sell 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. eBay is great because eBay does not turn off. Essentially, eBay is always open. You know, there's always chances, 24 hours a day, 365 days a week, for people to buy your items, which is a big, big plus when it comes to being a reseller, because while you sleep, you could literally make money. All right, so pro number two for eBay is you get full value. Now, what does full value mean? It means you get full value, meaning if you have an item, a collectible is worth $1,000, and you can list it on eBay for $1,000. It means you can sell your item for $1,000, meaning you can get full value for an item, no matter if it's a $50 item, $100 item, $1,000 item, no matter how much the item is worth. You know, you could list it for whatever the market is and get full market value for it. So that is definitely a plus when it comes to eBay. Next item that we got a pull that sold is this really cool Universal Studios vintage like satin bomber jacket. Really cool piece. It has some wear to it. I think there's like a whole gash in the sleeve, but still sold. All right, so the next pro for eBay is going to be the scalability of eBay. Now, you know, it might not be as quick of a scalability as Whatnot possibly can be. However, being that you can get full value for items, you could definitely scale it very, very well and fairly quickly as well. Think about it. You know, we've all, and if you guys have resellers, no matter new or old, I'm sure you found an item at a garage sale, flea market, thrift store for $1 and sold it for 20 bucks, right? So on eBay, being that you get your full value, let's say you sell all your items, let's just say theoretically everything is $20. You find an item for $1, sell it for $20. Obviously not including fees, whatnot. We're not talking about fees right now. Let's say you sell an item for 20 bucks, right? You get that 20 bucks back. You initially only spend $1. That means you have $19. You, let's say, put $10 in your pocket. That means you have nine more dollars, which is 9 other items that you can make, that you can times that 9 items by another $20 each. It might be kind of confusing how I described it, but you get the gist. You can scale it fairly quickly and fairly well with eBay, which is a great pro for eBay. All right, so we're in between a tight rack space. We're in green, yellow rack, and we have green, yellow 132. There it is. So onto our next, let me squeeze over this way, onto our next pro of eBay is the exposure to a customer base. eBay has been around forever, many years. And they've developed and acquired many customers over the years and still acquire new customers to this day. So with the wide range of customers across the world that eBay has, and the vast amount of people who shop on eBay, you have a big customer base that can shop from you on the platform. The next pro about eBay is that you can set it and forget it. What I mean by that is you can set an item for sale, forget about it, and it'll be out there for anybody to be able to buy at any particular point in time, which is great. Set it, forget it, list an item for sale once, it is out there for the world to grab at any point in time, you know, when somebody wants to go ahead and purchase that item. Unlike on Whatnot, where, you know, you have to sell your item on that live. You know, if you don't sell on the live, then you have to retry to sell it on another live and keep introducing that item on each of your lives until it either sells or you just decide to not sell it anymore. eBay, put it on the eBay app, put it up there for sale, put the item in the inventory, forget about it, and it's there for the taking. All right, as far as the cons for eBay, con number 1, you have to deal with returns. Now, returns is always no fun. So especially if you have free returns, you know, within a 30, even 60-day period even, you know, you have to deal with people returning your items. Now, that's just the nature of the beast. That's just what happens. You know, people are going to return stuff, whether it's because it doesn't fit them, they didn't like it, whatever the case may be, you got to deal with returns sometimes. So, of course, that's a con that you have to refund the buyer, pay for shipping to get delivered back. You know, it's definitely a pain. But, again, another nature of the beast if you want to run high-scale eBay operation. Now, another con of eBay, con number 2, is items could take forever to sell. Now, obviously, you could kind of avoid that by picking up items with higher sell-through, which essentially means, for those of you who know what sell-through is, items that essentially sell faster or there's a higher demand for them than there is supply. You have an outlier store where you only focus on high sell-through items, but you know, a lot of cases for most eBayers, you know, you have a wide variety of sell-through rates, or a decent variety of sell-through rates of in your store. You know, items could take, you know, a day to sell. It could take a week to sell, a month to sell. Some items it could even take a year to sell. So it's definitely a con of eBay, is some items could take forever to get the heck out of that inventory death pile. All right, the phone was dying, so I had to bring it in here to charge. So we might have to finish out this video out in here. But anyway, the next con of eBay is going to be the Veros. So if you don't know what the Vero is, Veros are when essentially brands can file almost kind of like a copyright thing. I'll put the actual description of what a Vero is somewhere on here, but a Vero is essentially a brand saying, nope, that's inauthentic, or hey, I don't want these people selling our product essentially on the platform, if I'm not mistaken. There's the gist of what a Vero is. So that is definitely something that can hinder your ability to sell on eBay dramatically. Veros are no joke. You know, if you get too many Veros, they could end up suspending your account, if not completely removing your account off the platform's selling ability. So that is a big no-no when it comes to being a reseller, because if you lose your account, you're screwed. So definitely want to stay away from those Veros. You definitely want to look over the what a Vero is on eBay, do a lot of research, look at the different brand lists, and make sure you stay far away from any Veros, because you do not want that happening to your account. Con number 4 of eBay is a con that we had over on Whatnot as well, which are the fees. Now again, fees are just bound to happen. It's just a thing. We kind of touched on Whatnot. You know, you have seller fees, processing fees, whatever the fees may be, promotion fees, whatever, advertisement fees, whatever kind of fees you want to talk about. But again, you know, it's kind of warranted. You know, we're using their platform. Yes, people could say, yeah, we pay for a store size, we shouldn't have fees, whatever your argument may be, but hey, fees are fees, fees are there. We're using their platform, they're spending their money to get people to shop on that platform across the world. So personally, I'm more than happy to pay the fees that they have. Obviously, to a certain point, you know, I'm not trying to pay 70% fees, 50% fees, 40% fees even, but you know, it's just the nature of the beast of what's out there, and you know, we're using their platform, so we gotta abide by their rules. Now, con number 5 of selling on eBay, it's not really an eBay thing, it's just reselling on a, I should say, more of a long-term platform. What I mean by long-term is, I consider like Whatnot like a short-term platform. Not at a short-term, but I mean like you could buy and sell throughout your inventory completely every single day, essentially, on Whatnot. For eBay, obviously you list your items and you put it on there, you wait for it to sell, and it kind of trickles slowly your sales. So with eBay, or just any platform in general, that it's kind of a set it and forget it business model where you set it for listing and you wait for it to sell, you need space for your inventory. I mean, Whatnot, you need space for your inventory as well, but especially if you're holding on to a lot of your inventory for it to sell, little by little, you know, you're gonna need the room for it. As you see, we're in a warehouse. We have a 2,000 square foot about warehouse here. So, you know, not everybody has the luxury to be able to do that. You know, some people have to do it out of pile in the corner. You know, everyone starts somewhere. I started literally pile in the corner as well, to totes, boxes, to storage unit, to now to filling up my house, to now having a separate warehouse for our reselling business. So definitely inventory space is definitely needed, which is definitely a con, because if you're doing it out of your house, it could literally take over your house. And when wifey comes home and she sees boxes of clothes all in her kitchen, she ain't gonna be happy. And there you have it, the pros and cons of Whatnot versus eBay. Put it in the comments down below. Which platform do you think is better based off of those pros and cons? I want to hear your guys' opinion. And if you like that kind of video, drop it down below. That way we can try to put out more of this kind of video out there for you guys. If you haven't already, guys, smash that thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps us out a ton. I can't wait for all the new content we're gonna have coming out for you guys very, very soon. Keep on keeping on, turning $1 to a dream. See you on the next one. Peace out. Love ya.